Hey, Dawn.
Hey.
I can't stop dancing.
I tell you what, it's a short but very catchy piece of music, isn't it? Right? We both sit there kind of like, ooh, yeah, okay. It's good. It's good. It's good. Connecting with the body. I'm all for that. It's all wonderful stuff. For those tuning in, yes, here we are again, another week with us at the Permission to Thrive Live, and our new series, which is all about myth busting, really looking at the language that we use and how that language can hold us back, how that language can prevent us from doing the things that we want to do. And actually how we just need to be more careful about the stories we tell ourselves, because the language we use is telling us a story and is telling other people a story. And so really being mindful of that. So Evie, what's the, and we look at 2 every week. So Evie, what's the first one that we're going to look at this week?
Well, this week is one of my favorites, actually, that has come up. And I mean, favorites in inverted commas, but it is one that we all use or have used, and we are very likely to use again. And it's "I can't do that," and it sort of comes always with a bunch of excuses why we can't do that. And well, I'm sure there are things we can't do, but it's different when you cannot do something because you have decided you are not the person to do it, or when you can't do something because it's not in your interests. So that is 2 different things. So in that case, I would definitely change the language and say, well, you know, I'm not interested in doing this, so I'm not going to proceed.
Yes.
But that's, you know, like I think something that we need to differentiate for our listeners to make sure that we're talking for a very specific I can't do. And it usually comes with something that we would love to do it, but we can't do it because it's us. We're not enough to be able to do it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because and that's also, as you were saying, choosing better language when I can't do that is not the truth. Like that is not the truth statement. You know, if we were literally saying in a conversation we were having, you know, like if somebody said to me tomorrow, come and climb Mount Everest, chances are I would say, well, if I have all the equipment and I have somebody who does know what they're doing, there's every chance that I could. I don't know whether I could get to the top, but I could certainly start the climb. The question is, do I want to be climbing Mount Everest? And actually, for me, that would probably be, thanks for the offer, not really my thing, or I'm not interested. So just using language that is true to what you're trying to say, as opposed to, I can't. You know, so for me to say I can't would mean that I literally don't physically, mentally, whatever, believe that is possible for me. That's the statement that we want to really look at. That statement that reinforces what is not possible for self. And I hear it not just in I can't do that, in terms of I can't do a skill or an activity or something, but even, you know, I can't do that in terms of letting somebody down. Like, I don't want to go to that party. I just don't want to go, you know, oh, well, then don't go. Oh, I can't do that. And the sheer horror of saying I'm not going to do it, you know, brings out all kinds of, you know, behavior, languages, excuses, why that would not be possible.
Absolutely. And it's very interesting what you mentioned there, because that it's directly related to setting boundaries as well. So look at one little phrase and how many things it hides in it once you start unpacking it. It's unbelievable. One thing that I also tie in with I can't do that is the opposite of growth mindset. Because when you are in the growth mindset, there is no way you're going to expect that you cannot do something, because you're in the process of learning. You allow yourself to learn something, and okay, yes, until you are proficient in something, you're not that good, but it doesn't mean that you cannot do it. So it is definitely like a very interesting little phrase.
Yeah, it is. And it's one that will often come up for in terms of saboteurs. So when we talk about the patterns and where they come from, when we talk about our saboteurs in positive intelligence, the avoider will often say, I can't do that, because they want to avoid doing that thing. And also the victim. It also comes up for the victim. And neither of us have that as a kind of scorer thing from our assessments. However, we still know that those who do have the victim story, that is also, it's really important to be able to understand, why does that come up? And it's really, for both cases, really protecting yourself from failure, protecting yourself from any kind of judgment. It's also about staying in the comfort zone, because, as long as I'm in my comfort zone, I don't have to worry about anything, because I know what I'm doing here. And if you look at all of those things, if you're fearing failure, if you're fearing judgment, if you're staying in your comfort zone, what is that saying? Well, the exact opposite of what you were just saying, Evie, about the growth. We are restricting the possibilities for ourselves. We are restricting our expansion. We're stopping ourselves from exploring what might be possible. And even in those cases when we're saying, I can't do that, I can't let this person down, what are you really saying to yourself? That what that person expects from you or wants from you is more important than what you want or need for yourself in that moment. If I'm ill and somebody wants me to go somewhere, I'm ill. And I'm going to look after myself. That's the reality. That's my reality, right? I am absolutely going to prioritize my health and well-being. And really sorry that I'm not able to join you. It is what it is. As opposed to literally telling myself, oh no, I can't do that. I've got to drag myself now to whatever that thing is, because I said that I would. As if life doesn't bring changes on a daily basis.
100%. And that's the thing. I mean, when we're setting boundaries, also, it's not about like, what we think the other person will think, because that is a big trap. We always, it's like you try to get in the mind of somebody, and it's very likely that the answer that you're going to get is going to surprise you anyway, whether it's for good or for bad, doesn't matter. But it is because everybody thinks differently. So explaining and expressing exactly what you want, and not only just expressing it, but like explaining why, I think will always put you in a better spot when it comes to setting your own boundaries, rather than just playing the victim card and say, oh, what can I do? This is how things are. That's how they've always been. But anyway, I mean, we're going to go and touch on those some other weeks, I think. But yeah, somehow all those things do show up with I can't.
Yeah. And, I think, as we said at the beginning, hand up to anyone who has never used the I can't statement along the way. I am not in a position to say that I have never used the statement, because I have. And when I think about the times when I have used it, now, of course, I see how in those moments I limited myself from making a decision or a choice that best suited me or best suited what needed to happen. And generally it may have been out of fear of letting somebody else down, or it may have been because the thought of stepping over that boundary that would take me outside of my comfort zone, even those moments would have been like a massive deal. Now I'm constantly looking, how do I step outside of my comfort zone? How do I get over that? I kind of encourage myself to understand where my boundary of comfort is and what is on the other side, and what am I doing to explore that? And look at it as an exploration, not worrying about failure and judgment and all the other stuff. There is no failure in judgment. If I step outside my comfort zone to do something and it all goes pear-shaped, so what? I stepped outside my comfort zone. That for me is my win, right? Then if that thing becomes something of importance to me, I can now spend time getting more proficient at it, whatever it is.
100%. And, I think it sort of like goes together with the question is like, what's the worst that can happen? If you try something, if you do something that you think you cannot do and you try it, what's the worst that can happen? You might get some really big laughs out of it. You can always laugh with everybody else that's laughing. And I think that really will give you a gift out of the action or whatever. So I think that you're very right by saying that we limit ourselves, and there is no reason to limit ourselves, because unless we see the possibility, where are we going? Where are we at? And
why are we here?
What does it show, to the people that we like, our loved ones, our people around us, our children, even, by limiting ourselves, we sort of like modeling for somebody else how to be limited. And I don't think anyone wants to do that, really.
No, exactly. And so I think we have to look at that language and really when we catch ourselves saying it, so whatever the situation is, and again, all of this has to be done without judgments. You don't start judging yourself now if you catch yourself or when you catch yourself saying it. It's the awareness. Wow. And actually wow, I've said that 3 times today. I need to be aware of that, and I need to kind of see how that plays out and just watch it. It's almost like standing back from yourself and watch it and hear it and think, okay, what do I need to do with that language? Because I know that's not the truth. Or even if I have a feeling that there's some truth in it, it's probably not the whole truth. So how do I start to expand from there and really give myself permission to go beyond what I believe is or is not possible for me? And so we have to start thinking about, instead of saying I can't do that, what if I did do that? What might I learn? How might I grow? What might be the win? And actually, even if it goes all very horribly wrong, what will that have taught me? What's that? What is it? What will I? That is when we start kind of reframing all of that language, and we allow ourselves to know that it doesn't matter if you fail. It doesn't matter if it goes wrong. It doesn't matter if it's not perfect. All of that stuff, if we can get beyond all of that language that is kind of been embedded in us, it must be perfect. You should go for 100%. You should. In some cases, yes, you do need to get everything. There are situations where things do need to be lined up, right? But that is not every situation. So we need to really pay attention to the situation that we're in and use the appropriate language. So even if we're in a situation where we are faced with doing something that we've never done before, and that very first thought is, I can't do this. Like, I've never done it before. I can't do this. To just be aware of that and just say, I wonder what would happen if. And then give yourself permission to at least attempt to do it.
Oh, I love this one. I love the way that you're explaining this, and also how through positive intelligence we can like learn how to observe our patterns, because that's all these limiting things are. They are patterns. They're things that we are so used to using that we don't necessarily not even notice them anymore. So once we start becoming the observers of ourselves, that opens up so much possibility for so many things. And it sort of like it gives us like so many aha moments and so much explanation into our own nature that is absolutely beautiful. Just doing that makes such a big difference in your life.
Yeah. It's a game changer. And as somebody who can, hold their hand up for having had avoider tendencies, and I'm saying having had, I'm not saying that they've all dissipated, but they are pretty much, well, they're nowhere near where they were a year ago, let's put it that way. And being aware of that, and with that awareness, being able to change the story. And instead of thinking that I have to avoid that because it's going to be painful, it's going to hurt, it's going to make me angry, it's going all this stuff, instead of bolting on more stories to it, actually be able to say, oh, well, that's interesting. What is it that's preventing me from wanting to do that? What is that?
Correct.
Okay. So what one little thing, as we learn in positive intelligence, can I do that moves me into that and through that, so that I can break that pattern? Because these patterns are not serving us. They think they are. They think they're protecting us and they're keeping us safe. However, in keeping us so safe, they're keeping us so small.
Absolutely. 100%. And I think that once we know that we can make some difference in how we are, there are things and that we do that I'm sure we don't necessarily want to change everything, but if there is anything that you feel that needs changing or that would serve you better if you did it in a different way, well, try it. It's like up to you. It's like all in your hands, and that's fantastic.
Yeah. It is. And actually, I just popped into my head. So a current client that she's gone off on a holiday on her own, which is like a big deal. She's gone off on a holiday on her own, and she's going surfing. And she hasn't been on a surfboard for 15, 20, I think 20 years, I think she said. It's been a long, long time. And what was one of the things she said? Oh, I don't even think I don't think I can stand up on the board. She said, but I know that when I did it before, I really enjoyed it. There was something about being in the water. I'm like, hold that. Just hold those moments of joy that you can remember. And I got a message from her this week to say, first day on the board, and I stood up. She was just like, yes.
Fabulous.
She could have just as easily kept on telling herself, I can't, and ended up not even going on the holiday. But she didn't. She keep that image, and keep those feelings and all that joy that you experienced when you did do it. Go with that. And she took it, and she's having a great week. So,
it is horrid when you can think how we rob ourselves of moments like this so easily and so thoughtlessly as well, in a way, because unless you try, you will not know. Unless you put yourself out there, you will not know. Unless you take that one little tiny step of being aware or of checking your patterns, you will not know. So don't rob yourself from things that will give you joy. There is no doubt that they can.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Okay, so the next phrase then we're going to look at is I'm not good at that, which these quite easily kind of tie in with each other. I'm not good at that. So for an avoider, I won't do that because I'm not good at it. So that's just like an easy one for the avoider to jump on. It's like, if I'm not good at something, why would I do it? I'm just going to avoid doing it, and I'll go and do the thing that I am good at. However, if there is something that so as an avoider, for me, if there's something that I need to learn, experience, or know from that thing that I'm avoiding, then there's if I go off and do something different, how is that helping? How is that helping? How is that helping my growth? How is that helping me? And how is it helping to break my patterns? So we have to be really, again, thoughtful. I'm not good at that. And the judge is the other one that will roll you out on that. Oh my goodness, why are you wasting time on doing that? You don't even do it well. Somebody else can do it better than you. All of those stories that come up, right? We need to, again, this will always come back to, this is the stuff we do in the community, that awareness. What are those stories that I keep on telling myself that are on autopilot? So you have to watch for them, because most of them have been going for so long, you don't even know that they're there. You don't even know that they're playing out. And they may not use the same language every time they play out either, which is because they can be sneaky. So you have to be willing to watch, really raise that awareness and really listen to. I used to get years ago, get my clients to, whenever they said anything like, I can't, it's not possible for me, whatever, that they would just write it down, not do anything with it, just write it down, just so they could see in a week how many times they told themselves it wasn't possible, can't do it, no one would ask me, blah, 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 all these things, just so they could see. And it's like, imagine that's 1 week. Imagine that every week for the 40 years, 45 years that or 40 years, let's just say, as an adult, because by then let's just talk about from 20 onward, that you've been telling yourself that. But it could be that you've been telling yourself that from the age of 10 when you were at school. But it doesn't matter, but you've been reinforcing that all the time. Imagine how you're just working from that space as if it is the truth, because you've told yourself that many times in that many ways.
That's it. I mean, we don't challenge ourselves when it comes to statements like this. We just, state them as a fact without questioning. And that is what stops us. And that's what, makes us stuck in the same patterns. I keep talking about patterns, but I mean, that's what it is in essence. Unless we want to stay in those patterns and we're happy with them, well, there is always something that we can do about it. And generally people that grow, or even our clients, they come to us because they have a notion that something is not right, that they can have a better reaction to life, if yes, nothing else. Because that's the thing. When you are using phrases like this, and especially those negative phrases, they are like a constant push against life, isn't it? And we are all about pulling in positive intelligence. So you are in a constant battle. Like, yes, I would love to do that, but I can't. I'm not good at that. There are always obstacles, and the whole point is to see if there is a way around the obstacle. If you have something in front of you and it's so real for you, is like, what if there is a way around it, and explore that. So I know I'm getting a bit passionate about this, because I find it so frustrating when people that are so capable and so there is so much potential in them, and they come in such a closed way, and you can feel their frustration, because they can intuitively know that they are so much bigger than that, and they hold themselves in that little ball, just in case they stick their toe out of the comfort zone and something happens. So,
but that's conditioning, isn't it? That's conditioning, and that's also about being under pressure or feeling the pressure of meeting societal demands and societal expectations. And, you know, I can't afford to do that and not do it well because so-and-so will think, you know, I'm not good at that is a real easy way of, I don't want to do it in case I don't do it well enough and somebody else could have done it better. You know, you can use that. I'm not good at that. I'm not good at that. Let so-and-so do that because they're much better. Now, don't get me wrong. Whatever it is that we do, there may always be someone who's better at it, who's more skilled, who has more experience. But we're not here to compare. When that's not what we're here to do. Comparison is like that really, that's that dirt track you don't want to go down, right? It's the dirt track you don't want to go down because you will get stuck in it and it's never going to be pleasant. You're not here to be compared to, nor compare yourself with and to others. You are here to be all of your brilliant, unique self. And I don't care if there's 10,000 people who do what you do. How you do it is your way.
Absolutely.
How you do it is your way. So get good at doing it your way and stop worrying about the way that everybody else does it.
That's exactly it. I remember what's her name? I forget now. But she was like, you will remember her name the moment I say, like, they were comparing her to Oprah. So it's and she said, well, you know, I cannot really do Oprah, but I can definitely do myself very, very well. And I can't remember her name now.
Yeah. No.
That's okay.
Yeah. I can say with certainty that this is a fact. I really cannot remember the name.
But
should I say her name is not coming to me at this moment in time?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're honoring her, but I mean, that to me is the absolute truth. Because none of us can, you know, like do anybody else better than we can do ourselves.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
And that's what we're here to be.
Yes.
Go ahead. I was going to say, and it's exactly that. You know, we're here to be our best self. We are here to some, and I want to say this because I had a really interesting conversation with somebody earlier. We're here to kind of deflower ourselves from all of this conditioning and stuff to get to the innate wisdom we hold. We had it. We just got it smothered with loads of other stuff. And so our willingness to look at this language that we're using and to start questioning it without judgment. So this is from a place of curiosity. Being able to question it without judgment and then start reframing it so that we start using language that encourages us to do the things, the habits and the behaviors that support our growth. That's ultimately, you know, behind all of this. But we have to know what is coming out of our mouth in the first place, or what we keep on telling ourselves in here. Because sometimes you may say, oh, yeah, that's fine. Verbally, in your head, you're going, oh my God, why did I say that? I cannot do that. I can't do that. I'm not freaking out, right? So even that, getting synergy and alignment and actually when you're saying something, it being clear that if you're telling the truth, so if somebody asked me to do something and I'm not sure I can do it, and I remember having a client years ago before I was doing coaching who asked me to... She hosted a radio interview show, and there was a week she couldn't make it. And she said, oh, I've got, oh my goodness, who was it? Somebody high profile. And I can't make it, but I really need the interview to go ahead. Can you do it? And I remember thinking, I beg your pardon? What? Like, I thought, I don't even understand the question at this point. What are you asking me to do? What? And she said, would you do it? She goes, you've got a great voice. I know you'll be brilliant. Please, you know, I trust you. So this was the breaking line, was that I trust you to do a really good job. And I thought, well, hell, if she trusts me, who am I not to trust myself? Of course I'll do it. And I did it. So, you know, this is where we have to, these kind of breakthrough moments, if we never open ourselves up to stepping out of those, you know, I'm not good enough, or I can't, I'm not good at that, I can't do that, we will forever limit our possibilities. Everything that I do, everything that you do, Evie, once upon a time we could not do, right?
100%.
We had to do certain things to bring that into being, whether that was a learning thing, whether it was an activity, whether it was through conversation, to move us into that space. Well, that's the same for everybody.
100%. And the thing is that, you know, every single one of us have achieved big things already. Like if you, like every single one of us were children or toddlers or whatever, that we didn't know how to talk and we learned. We didn't know how to walk and we walked. So if we sat there saying, oh, I can't, and we wouldn't try over and over again, falling on our butts every single time that we're trying to walk, then, you know, none of us would be standing on their two legs this time. So I know it might sound a bit like, but that is the truth, isn't it? And I love it when people are like taking on hobbies and stuff. And I have come across people that are like, you know, I'm not really good at painting, but I love painting, so I'll paint. And you know what? Like a few years later, they're becoming really good because they really love it and they do it with passion and they have their own style and so in essence they're embracing that child in them and they're embracing the possibility, and at the end of the day they're also embracing the fact that, you know, I really don't care about being judged, bless you, or judge myself, because whatever I'm doing does give me joy, so I'll do it.
Yeah. I am being with this thing because it makes me feel joyful. Listen, if somebody said to me, can you paint a house? I'm going to say, well, I can, but I don't know what it's going to look like because I have no idea what it would look like, and it may not look like a house. Would I still paint it? Of course I would. Now, painting isn't my thing. That's the thing, is when it is from your soul, when that thing just comes up, it's just go play with it. Be that childlike self again. Allow that innate desire to come into fruition. Who knows what might come up for you? Who knows what that might lead to? When we keep on using this language and these phrases that belittle ourselves and others, because if we're using them on ourselves, there may be other people we put that spin on too, is, you know, that's just reducing ourselves to so much less than what we're put here to be. And that for me is, no, we're not here for that. We're not doing that game. We are going to birth our brilliance into the world. One micro step, one word, one phrase change at a time. And you know, when we think about our community, isn't that why we've got the community? Because what we have learned and the tools that we have gained and we're using, we know that they work. We want to spread it far and wide. It's like the further the reach we have, the more people can access it, the sooner they can start breaking away from these patterns that are stopping them from exploring all the wonderful and brilliant things they're here to do.
Every single one of us are, like, you know, able to grow.
Yeah.
And to grow towards the direction that we want to grow. And, you know, why stop that? And if everybody stopped that, then there wouldn't be all the advances that we have seen around us and all the things that makes us comfortable and the conveniences that we have these days and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I think that we all need to embrace that possibility in one way or another. And when we catch ourselves repeating patterns, let's ask why. Let's find out what is that conditioning that causes this, and become our own explorers, and have fun with it. I mean, I think
absolutely, be playful. Be playful. Be playful with it. This is not an exercise, as I said, it's for you to become like your own punch bag. No, be curious, explore, be playful. And you know what? If I'm not good at that, it's something that comes up for you, then I want to invite you to go and do something new this week. Go and do something new. And just do it from a place of curiosity. No judgment, no pressure. You know, if you think, I've always actually wanted to pick up a paintbrush and do some painting, but I just know I'm not good at it, so I've not gone there. I invite you to go and pick up that paintbrush and do something. Throw the paint on the paper. It doesn't really matter. Just go and experience it, because who knows what lies beneath. I always think to myself, how do great artists become artists? They don't become great artists by thinking that I'm not good enough, I'm not as good as so-and-so. It's like they just allow that creativity within them to take shape and form and put it out there. Musicians put it out there and keep on putting it out there, refining their art as they go. And I think that's the thing we have to remember is it doesn't matter. Even if you're doing something, you're thinking, I really am not good at this. It's the refinement of it. It's just like, if it gives you joy and pleasure, if you just like, but I get so much from it, then just keep doing it and refine that process and see where it takes you.
100%. And I want to say one last thing here, and we will drop off again. But I think it's worth sharing. Whatever we see, when we see somebody that we really admire doing something really remarkable, we only see the end result. We have not seen the effort. So, for example, a basketball player that can put the ball in the basket from 1,000 miles away and with his eyes closed, whatever, I know that's an exaggeration, but hey, I'm Greek, I exaggerate, I love drama. So the thing is that, this person has done this, tried it thousands of times, millions of times, over and over and over again. And we only see the outcome. And that's what we admire. So in a way, we can all do that if we choose to. And I leave you.
Absolutely. Give ourselves the same grace. Yes, cut ourselves some slack, give ourselves the good grace to say that, well, maybe this is not the best whatever that I've ever done or that I'll ever do. However, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going and see how it pans out. If I put more effort, if I put more time, if I just feel this need to do this thing, if there's a pull, there's probably a pull for a reason. And to not allow that conditioning to keep blocking, keep getting in the way, keep on shortening the possibilities, keep on reducing your potential when potential is what you are.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so we've talked the living daylights out of those two phrases. But hopefully, if you've tuned in, if you listen, something has resonated. And, if you do nothing else over this coming week, before we're back again, is really start to pay attention to the language that you're using on a daily basis. And it may be, and actually, if you've got children, listen to the language you use to your children also. Be really mindful of that and ensure that any limits that you've imposed on yourself, you're not handing that down. And I say that from a place of kindness as a parent who absolutely knows there was definitely some handing down of language that I wish I never had, but it was already out there. Had I known then what I know now, there were lots of things that I would have done differently. So you have an opportunity to really pay attention now, to really bring that awareness up. without pressure, without anxiousness coming through, just being aware and then thinking about how you can use better language, how you can be more compassionate to yourself, with yourself, and with others in the words that you choose, and then how you show up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Yvonne. It's been a pleasure, like always.
As always, Evie, a joy and a pleasure. And for those who have listened in, thank you so much. Comments always welcomed. And if you want to share perhaps a pattern that we haven't got to yet that comes up for you, please do leave it in the chats and stuff. We'll get there. We'll get there. We're going to be covering quite a few over the weeks and months to come. So do let us know. We're here to look at all of that and help everybody get to a better place. So with that, have a fantastic day, week ahead. Thanks, Evie.
Thank you, Yvonne.